Today we're going to be taking a look at Kirby Air Riders on Switch 2. Nintendo just released a limited time global test demo, and of course, I had to check it out. You know, this one actually surprised me earlier in the year at Gamescom. I remember leaving that booth thinking that was way better than I ever expected. So finally getting to sit down with it again at home, it's been a long time coming, because now I can really dig into performance, visuals, and just the feel of it in longer sessions. So in this one, we'll look at what's included in this demo, how it's running on the Switch 2, that's frame rate, all that good stuff, and whether it's shaping up to be something special. So if this one helps you out, hit subscribe, and let's get into it. So what exactly is Kirby Air Riders? Well, it's a full Switch 2 exclusive, built from the ground up for the new hardware. This is not a port, not a remaster, it is a proper return of the GameCube cult classic. And right now, we have the global test ride. It's basically an open beta. Here though, you get a selection of tutorials that walk you through the basics, and then 2 of the game's core modes, single player races across 3 tracks and city trial. And I've got to say, straight off the bat, this game is just pure chaos in the best possible way. You know, visually, let's start there, it is like a sugar rush with motion blur, explosions, trails, visual effects just stacked one on top of each other, and it's all got this incredible sense of speed. You know, when I first played it at Gamescom, when I was first walking into that room, I thought it might feel like a casual spin-off, you know, a soft, easy ride with Kirby pasted on top. But no, this thing moves, it is fast, it's wild, it demands your attention. Mechanically though, however, maybe it does fall into that almost easy ride bucket because it keeps things deceptively simple. You accelerate automatically, and the same button that boosts also acts as your brake. But that simplicity hides a lot of depth. Wiggle the stick to attack nearby enemies. Hold the boost brake combo and inhale at those enemies to fire them back as projectiles. If you tilt the stick then, that'll actually level you out. You could be gliding or even climbing for air. And when you've built up your special meter, hit Y to unleash a screen-filling attack. The rhythm, it's extremely easy to pick up, but the timing, that appears to me to be where the mastery sits. And that's just the basic races. What makes Kirby Air Riders so unique is that it doesn't play like a typical kart racer. You know, normally you're fighting hazards or enemies. Here you're actively hunting them down because taking them out, it fuels your top speed, your boost, and then it continues to unlock power-ups. It's a really different mindset, half racing, half arena brawler, and it makes every lap unique. Then there's City Trial, which for me is currently the highlight. It's the same mode I tried at Gamescom, and it's still just as good. The concept's simple but brilliant. You drop into this open city map, and you get 5 minutes to basically roam around. So you explore, you smash crates, you take down enemies, and you switch vehicles. The goal, grab as many power-ups as possible before time runs out. The better your collection, the stronger you'll be in the final event. And that finale, it changes every single time. So basically, sometimes it could be a short race, sometimes it's a high jump contest, sometimes you're parachuting and collecting stars mid-air. They're not particularly hard and they're very short, but the lead up, that 5-minute scramble, it's definitely fun. The city itself as well, it feels alive, not in the sense of like pedestrians or anything, but rather, you know, you'll be gliding around when suddenly a massive boss drops in. It forces all the players to team up, even though you're competing. Or maybe a mini race appears on the map out of nowhere. Sometimes you might pick up a mystery item and before you know it, you're screen filling, rolling all over the shop. It is just packed with those kind of little chaotic Nintendo moments that keep you, I guess, smiling. That said though, longevity is the big question mark for me. I said the same thing after my hands-on at Gamescom. Can it sustain interest the way something like Mario Kart does? The 3 tracks here, they're great. They're full of visual variety, but I'm also curious to see how they perform online and also how many we'll have in that final release. Because while the mechanics are strong, I do wonder how long City Trial can actually stay fresh for, if it's always, you know, 5 minutes of scavenging followed by a very short finale. It's fun, as I've said, played a couple of hours of it now, but will it still be fun, you know, 20 hours in? That's the part I'm kind of waiting to see because I just don't see it holding my attention personally. Skill gaps, another thing I'm curious to see in the future. I think it's worth mentioning as well. I can already see this game splitting players really fast. Casual players, like myself, will enjoy the spectacle and the chaos, but the pros, the ones who figure out every attack cancel, every turn timing, every glide angle, I think they're going to dominate. I was bouncing off walls nearly 90% of the time, just trying to get a hang of each vehicle's quirk. So yeah, there's definitely a learning curve hiding behind that cute Kirby face, and I actually really like to see that. I think it's a real good thing for those players. The other thing that's worth noting is lots of different riders, lots of different vehicles. Each has a different top speed, different boost, different handling. So experiment with them, because this really is a nice selection, and the demo actually just completely appears to at least open it up. Moving on then from gameplay and experience, presentation, top tier. Music, incredible, pure Nintendo charm, upbeat, catchy themes that will get stuck in your head immediately. Sound effects too, as impressed here. You know, the boosts, the pops when you hit enemies, the chimes when you land that combo. It's so cleanly mixed. And I know that's a weird way to say it, but with so much happening on screen, it could be just a wall of noise, and they've done a really good job of just avoiding that. Visually then, I do stick by this thing as a showcase. Each track has its own mood. You know, sunset, gardens, water, it just goes all over the place. Yeah, the water level in particular is just incredible. You know, light distortion sprays, you're going in and out of water. It's so cool to look at. And it's all flying by you at top speed. I just think it looks fantastic. I will say, occasionally, well, frequently, I was lost on the track because so much is going on, so you'll need to get used to that. But yeah, no question about it, incredibly impressive. But all of this anyway brings us to performance, and I'll say it up front, it's not fully locked, which has kind of been a trend recently. Donkey Kong wasn't locked either. But I'd say this, I think it is stable considering the chaos. During single player races, 2 of the 3 tracks were basically flawless, sitting at a near perfect 60 FPS. The water level, a little bit more demanding, that dipped slightly, down to roughly 58 FPS, so nothing huge. You won't notice in the middle of a race. I didn't notice at all, so let's not dig into that one too much. City Trial is where the load shows, however. It's a much larger map, multiple enemy spawns, visual effects all overlapping, multiple players, and yeah, the frame rate fluctuates. It's specifically in a few areas. I saw drops to the mid-40s. Now that was rare. Most of the time I'd say it stayed between 50 and 60. But yeah, I know that will maybe disappoint some. And what I will say is, first, of course, it is a demo. Things can and potentially will change. But when you're actually playing, you'd never guess it hit that low. I barely noticed any stumbles at all. Honestly, I felt the movement and the input response was consistent. You know, the core experience itself, that input isn't particularly tight anyway, so I didn't notice any changes. I think overall, in fact, it's a bit of a technical showcase that the Switch 2 can just handle this level of chaos without falling apart. So honestly, yeah, I think Nintendo's entered this new creative phase. I don't think a locked frame rate is a priority for them. I think good enough is, I guess, good enough in their books, and I think that is fine. Like I said, I didn't notice. The phase they seem to be in is, after Donkey Kong and now this, basically, let's get every single visual effect we can imagine on screen all at once. And it seems Kirby Air Riders is going to be the poster child for it, because it's loud, it's bright, it is unapologetically over the top, and for that reason, honestly, I love it. So yeah, basically what you have here anyway is a demo that is almost exactly what everyone was playing at Gamescom, but it's now been expanded with single player races that you can try for yourself. It's free, it is polished, and it's a solid preview of what's coming. So if you are curious or you're not 100% sold yet, check it out. Get hands on, see if it's for you. Again, my concerns after Gamescom, after this demo, are staying power. Will the final release add enough content variety? That only time will tell. But in terms of pure fun, I think it nails it. And again, finally, if you've been thinking, oh, it's Kirby, it'll be too easy, give it a go. It's going to surprise you how challenging it actually gets once the speed ramps up. It's definitely gem-rest, like you won't go flying off tracks, for example, Mario Kart style, but that doesn't mean you're going to be in control. You definitely won't be. So yeah, will you be checking it out? Let me know in the comments. If you have played it already, let me know your thoughts. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. It helps out the channel a huge amount. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers all.